I know a marvel of a woman that is a great example of someone who felt stuck in life and got herself out of a bad relationship. She had divorced once and yet found herself in another difficult marriage. With only a high school diploma, she did feel trapped as she watched her husband change jobs often and left him in a cycle of poverty. She and her family were evicted from place to place and often lost all of their possessions. Her husband repeatedly convinced her that his problems stemmed from her inability to take care of his needs. Now, recognizing this controlling pattern, she decided to ask helpful others for a way out. She had to believe that she was capable of surviving without him. She had to make a choice between continued captivity in this poverty and taking the positive actions needed to get out of her emotional prison. She could not control the actions of her husband, but she could control her actions. If we're just meeting for the first time, I'm Hugh Watt, founder of Trial Tappers. What is a Trial Tapper? People that find hope, resilience, and post-traumatic growth after life's trials and traumas in life. Our motto is, I tap pain, I find a path, and I grow stronger. There are 5 main areas that people can find post-traumatic growth after a trial trauma. Consider one of these 5 areas. The goal is to identify if you've had an increase in personal strength, your relationship with others, found new appreciation for life, increase your spiritual or existential connection with the universe, or find new possibilities in life. I want to tell you about how this woman broke free from her marital trial and found post-traumatic growth. If you're feeling stuck in any situation in life, I have 4 keys to personal freedom that I want to teach you. Many people will sometimes choose internal change over personal freedom. This video puts forth the principle that you can determine how you become free from your trial. It will teach you how to avoid being comfortable with the prison you are in. This lesson is from my second book, Trial Tappers, Harvesting More of Life's Trials and Traumas to Produce Positive Growth. It's Trial Action Path, or TAP number 20. It's called Tap Your Keys to Freedom. A link will be provided below if you're interested in the book. The illustration here shows a man standing between a jail cell and a house. He has a ball and chain around one ankle and above him 4 large keys. I worked for more than 6 years inside of a prison. In most of my career, I've worked with men and women involved in the criminal justice system. Now, the prison I worked in was over 50 years old. There were sections that still had actual keys to open and close the cells. These are not the ordinary keys that you have for your house or your car. These are keys probably 5 times larger than your house key. They were loud and not easy to lose. Now, prior to leaving my employment at the prison, I was given this section of old cell doors. They were given to me once they were replaced by the sliding doors. I began using this visual analogy to help clients that felt stuck in life, whether in a cycle of addiction, abusive relationships, the criminal justice system, a dead-end job, depression, or homelessness. Sometimes in life, you just feel trapped in a problem that no one else can fix. Although I'm a big believer in seeking out the help of others, all the advice and good intentions of these people cannot take you out of your internal prison. The reality of internal prisons has been demonstrated over and over with those I try to help. As their therapist, I can show them the path to freedom. But they are the ones who have to make the decisions to turn the key to free themselves. I've watched parents repeatedly pay for expensive rehabilitation programs, and then their child chooses to remain in their internal prison of addiction. Family and friends have put their reputations online to help a person leave a dead-end job only to have that person go back to their previous job. To the dismay of many family members, women leave abusive relationships only return to their abuser due to finances, fears, and/or loneliness. I've seen parents bail their children out of jail and get into financial trouble when their children do not show up for their court dates. The following are my personal 4 keys to freedom for you to consider. The first, Positive self-talk. The first steps to freedom is to apply the positive thoughts and tell yourself not only that you can escape, but that you want to escape your trial. The desire has to be real. Have you ever found yourself complaining to others that you feel trapped in your circumstances? Do you give lip service that you want to get out, but deep down you're content to stay in your misery? If you are in this situation, please understand that there are a few trials or circumstances that you can't overcome. Although support systems can offer many services to try to help, in reality, some people have become comfortable in their circumstances. I understand that this may seem inconceivable to you. However, I found many people get trapped here because they are used to accepting the limiting beliefs of others. You may have been told repeatedly that you do not deserve anything better than what you have now and that you can't get out of your personal prison. You may have heard this so much that you believe it. Do you let others convince you that you don't deserve to get out of your circumstances, or even worse, that you're incapable of success? Escape is possible from your trial, and you need to continually tell yourself that this is true. Challenge your internal beliefs about the prison you're facing now. Begin by telling yourself that you're capable and deserving of something better than in life, and that you have the power to overcome any trial. Positive self-control is the second key to freedom. Once you convince yourself you deserve to be free from the trial you face, identifying things you can control and those you can't are important. Deliberately making good choices is vital to your success. You will need to be smart and apply emotional intelligence and positive control over your situation. Don't waste your time on things you can't control. If you are diagnosed with cancer, don't argue with the doctors about the diagnosis. Focus on the treatment and being the best patient possible. If you become addicted to pain pills after surgery, don't doctor shop for medications. Focus on your recovery. If you're in an abusive relationship, don't worry about splitting up the possessions, but focus on escaping the abuse. Positive actions are the third key to freedom. In order to free yourself, you have to take positive, observable action steps. When I work with women escaping an abusive relationship, I repeatedly ask them to take the required steps towards freedom. First, get out of the house somewhere safe. Second, file a police report and press charges and request a protective order. Third, show up to all court hearings. Fourth, go to counseling. Fifth, do not go back to the abuse. When I work with addicts, I ask them the following steps. First, stop using drugs. Second, go to all treatment sessions. Third, comply with all the drug testing requirements. Fourth, go to support groups. And fifth, seek out support from others. Don't make things worse. Don't return to those places that will lead you down a dark path. Don't hang out with those people who will lead you back into your prison. Positive action steps are necessary to escape a variety of personal prisons. How will you know if you're making positive choices? If a child were observing your actions, would they identify them as positive? Would you be proud or would you be embarrassed by your actions if someone was watching? If you're finding value, please hit that like button. Comment below. What is the personal prison you need to escape? Persistence is the fourth key to freedom. After you decide to take steps towards freedom and climb out of your pit, you need to stay on the positive path. Even when it's hard and you fall off the path, return as soon as possible. I often warn that it will become uncomfortable. I want you to embrace the discomfort and push forward with faith that there is light at the end of the path. Choosing to give up when you're halfway through will waste time and may lead you down a negative path. Don't let negative self-talk convince you to return to the comfortable prison you're escaping. Once freed from captivity, why would anyone want to return to the comforts of a prison? Many victims of abuse often return to the safety of their abusers. The National Domestic Violence Hotline reports that on average, a woman will leave an abusive relationship 7 times before she leaves for good. If you choose to give up and return to a negative path, realize that you may be endangering yourself and others. Now I want to finish the story I started with at the beginning. With the help of family and friends, this woman made the choice to leave and divorce her second husband and start a new life. She had to make the decision to ask help and to take assistance from family and friends. Now, deciding to ask for help took a lot of courage and humility, but she got to the point of being so fed up with her situation in life that she found the strength she needed and asked for help from others. Looking back in her life, she is happy that she took the courage to turn the keys to freedom for herself. I hope you can identify if you're trapped in an internal prison, acknowledge any reasons you have for staying trapped, and overcome your fears of the unknown. Trials in life sometimes trap us in an internal prison, but personal freedom can be just around the corner. You hold the keys to freedom. What will it take for you to free yourself from this trial? If you struggle with trials and traumas, then you need to learn how to become a trial tapper. What is a trial tapper? People that can find hope, resilience, and post-traumatic growth after life trials and traumas. I'll explain more in my next video on how to become a trial tapper. So subscribe so that you don't miss out. As a trial tapper, I tap pain, I find a path, and I grow stronger. Thanks for listening.